Let's tap back into another CNN panel as this Republican guest has genuinely some of the most egregiously stupid takes that we just have to talk about. I just can't go without talking about them. So let's just jump right in and we'll be back with the fact checks, the very much needed fact checks.
But can you stand for the people who assaulted police officers? You can stand for that.
I'm not saying I stand for assaulting police officers. Never would I. But I don't stand for someone getting an unfair sentence, whether it's assaulting a police officer or any other crime. You want to see people sentenced fairly. Like when we see people, we see so many black people in this country sentenced unfairly when it comes to marijuana.
Don't do that. No, wait. We ain't in it. No, we ain't in it.
Please explain to me why. Why would you want to see anybody
I don't want to see nobody. Don't do that.
Based off of their political party or the color of their skin.
Do the January 16th. Don't do the black people because
I'm happy to have this debate with you.
We've been going to prison unfairly for decades.
100%, which is why criminal justice reform is something that has been needed to be had for a long time.
Right, but we're not going to make January 6th into the book. Don't leave us out of it, man. Come on, man.
Unfairly sentenced.
These people are so disgusting. Like, this is just exceedingly gross because they denied racial bias in policing in the judicial system for years. After Trayvon Martin, we were told, just deal with it. All of these things. After Kyle Rittenhouse, we were told, just deal with it. But now they want to co-opt it because they feel they can use it to piggyback and get more people on their side and justify Trump pardoning 1,500 predominantly white males who committed crimes in his name, just to then never do anything about the racial bias. It's just like right now it's in their favor. It's, again, actually vile, right? The people at the Capitol were criminals. We went through the people who attacked the cops. They were curb stomping on their heads, hitting them with baseball bats, pepper sprayed them, leading to their death, the conspiracies that were to overtake the House and Senate, the weapons, not to mention the fact it was an attack on the Capitol that delayed the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in our country's history. There was clearly an onus to prosecute this in a way that would dissuade anyone from ever attempting something like this again. Comparing this to the very real, proven systemic bias that exists judicially in both juries and in judges is disgusting. I mean, the way these people denied this for decades to now just pretend it's real, but it's a straight white rich man being persecuted, not black people, is insane. They always just want to be the victim while simultaneously being the bully. It's the weirdest phenomenon.
May not end up happening, but when we look at the past 20 years of disaster across this country, I can't think of many times where FEMA did a great job. You look at
FEMA is paying bills.
You look at many other, and you look at a lot of the waste, fraud, and abuse within FEMA. Maybe that money can be better.
FEMA is still paying the bills for Katrina, for Harvey, for Ian. These are all in red states. They are still housing people.
But maybe that money would be better used
going
straight to the states.
From Hurricane Helene. Even when we are not paying attention to what FEMA is doing, FEMA is housing people. They are providing grants to people. They are helping people rebuild. It is happening.
I love how MAGA pundits are always just people who have no idea how things work, don't do any research on them before their appearances, and just say things off the vibes. FEMA does direct money straight to state and local governments. They provide grants to them to then allow them to cover the restoration of damaged infrastructure, debris removal, hazard mitigation. And as Abby Phillips mentioned, they are even still helping those struggling from natural or just from disasters that happened ages ago. I'm sure that people relying on that aid wouldn't want them cut off. It's always people privileged enough to be like disconnected from these programs that want them removed. The people talking about like going for SNAP and WIC are the people who don't rely on SNAP and WIC, and people going after food stamps don't rely on food stamps. And now the people going after FEMA don't rely on FEMA. FEMA is an amazing program. I mean, it's one of the better institutions, better function systems of the government. And it's rich that MAGA would both claim California has failed to handle the wildfire at the state level, then would also say, well, disasters should be handled at the state level. Not what they were saying after Florida was hit with hurricanes, though. It was, well, Biden needs to do more at the federal level, where there's no consistency here.
What did Trump do as of the past 4 days? He declared a national border emergency. He ended birthright citizenship. He ended catch and release. He reinstated remain in Mexico. He designated cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. The list goes on and on and on, but we're seeing those numbers come down already. We'll continue to see them come down. And what did the Biden administration and Democrats do when supposedly Democrats on this network arguing, hey, we had the list of these people before. Why were they not gone before Trump took office Monday? These are criminals, a lot of them in gangs, and they do not belong in this country.
Because Venezuela won't take them back.
Well, we'll see the Supreme Court. We'll ask the question about that.
It's funny because Trump came into office with border numbers that were lower than they were in the last 4 or 5 months under him before he left office. I wonder why he would declare a border emergency after coming into office, but not before leaving if they were worse then. It's almost like it's just because it's politically advantageous for him to do now. And I'll give it to him. He's definitely trying to end birthright citizenship, but a federal judge has already blocked it. He's being sued by 22 states. And if the Supreme Court has any shred of dignity and respect left, it will uphold the precedents it's established and upheld for over a century now.